A little background. I was born into a group think. The group is called the Children of God. The experience that we had as children was 100% an example of ritual abuse. Our parents joined thinking that they were going to experience something, and then they were slow lobster cooked into this completely different version of reality that happened tiny little bits at a time. It wasn't just this shocking reality of, oh my God, incest is sanctioned by God. But that was essentially what happened over the course of the groupthink experience. So the ritual abuse was using very specific, hi baby, very specific symbolic gestures, words, exorcisms, which were very ritualized ceremony. There were ceremonies where it was, physical violence like discipline. And then, of course, there was an element of sexualizing children. So, as you can imagine, that childhood experience left me in my early adult life with a very keen sense of powerlessness. In fact, on the regular, when the sun would set, I would experience extreme fatigue, almost to the point of narcolepsy. And, there were reasons why that was happening. So I went from feeling a fear of the future. I didn't think I was going to live past 16 years old because it was the end of the world. So it was, do everything that you can for God, because we're all going to die soon. The childhood experience, this was an international group, and I've lived in multiple countries. In my childhood, always had a passport, and quite a few actually as a child. So in these kind of situations, they are fraternities of sorts, and they develop rituals within which they control the group think and grow it larger, one level at a time, creating the pyramid structure. So we were not taught a sense of self, and this was not an accident. We were supposed to be one mind, one entity, if you will. And so the sense of self was something that was completely undefined. That kind of an experience creates a very heavy sense of hopelessness and powerlessness. And I know that many of my counterparts who were also born and raised in the group may have had different experiences, but the same result. There's a deep sense of grief, of mourning that needs to be had. And when you get through the mourning, then you're able to find the anger. And these are all really important steps to gathering soul fragments that are stuck in trauma within specific places in time. So this is the reason that I say documentation of this kind of work is really key, because there's no way that you can remember everything that you want to say. And when you create a log, you're actually able to communicate with other parts of yourself in different places and spaces within time. If you're at a point where you are feeling a sense of chaos and you're out of control, or you feel like you're in some sense of inertia, maybe emotional narcolepsy like I was describing, or you're dealing with extreme anger and maybe nothing is seemingly happening in your reality that should be triggering this anger, these are the times that we should be reaching out to help. All of the professionals, every sports professional, every actor, actress, they all have coaches. They all take the time to find someone who has expertise, who can criticize and give them an outside third person observer perspective. And, yes, friends may be able to do this on a certain level, but there is something to be said about the relationship between you and a coach, when you actually have an investment, a financial contract, it actually puts you in a position where you're going to pay attention and you're going to do the best work. So I went from that experience of childhood to where I am today. Of course, this is many years later, but I have a very strong sense of purpose. I have calm in my daily life because of the work that I've done to create new rituals that that allowed me to self-soothe. So when I was anxious because somebody that I love triggered some memory, cellular memory in my body, I would then be able to go into my sanctuary and ceremony and find the rituals that I have created myself to walk myself out of the stories from the past that I don't want to influence my decisions moving forward today. So one of the most important things that I did very early on in my life was I invested in myself, in therapy. I invested in mentoring, in different types of coaching programs, as well as professional talk therapy, new age healers, hypnotherapy. All of these different modalities offer slightly different perspectives on the same story, which is we have to learn to love ourselves. And self-love is really, once we have a deep understanding of how to love ourselves, then we can work from that place to create trust in ourselves and to create an environment where we are able to actually move forward and change our stories to what we want it to look like today. So I have, I don't regret the investments that I've made in finding an outside perspective, someone who is 100% objective, but also has professional tools that they can convey to me to help me expand in my understanding of who I am. There's actually a certain sense of magic when you make a decision, when you commit with a financial investment to bettering yourself in the future. It was serious dedication and commitment to finding my happiness. And it's definitely not something that we need to be embarrassed about or feel like, oh my gosh, I don't want people to know that I did that. Yes, I have had emotional issues and I received outside help, and I'm very proud of the hard work that I did in order to get back to a place of mental stability and where I feel like I'm actually progressing and moving forward. So, if you enjoyed watching the video and you have a comment, I'd love to hear what you have to say. Like, share, whatever. And thank you for watching.